Hello. Is this phone number by any chance Henry's wife's number? You go by Sandy, right? Hello? Do you have any idea what's happened with Henry? As far as I'm aware, Henry went to a class reunion for one of his classes back in middle school, right? So he's gone back to his hometown for it. Well, I happen to be one of his longtime friends and was in the same class as him in middle school. You can call me Emily. It's a really cute name, right? Your name is Emily? Well, I guess it's cute. But to be honest with you, I know hundreds of Emilys, and I'm not really sure the name itself is that cute. What a buzzkill! So, Emily, when are you going to get on with telling me why you're wanting to talk with me right now? Huh? I'm going to assume that you are talking to me right now because you took my phone number from his phone and copied it into yours. I happen to know Henry pretty well, and I'm sure he wouldn't just be handing out my information to you and ask you to text me. So can you please just tell me why you want to talk? For some reason, I'm getting a bad vibe from you. Well, whatever. I'll tell you what I want from you right now, then. And it's nothing that I really want from you, but rather what I want to tell you about me. I've gone and taken your husband home from the class reunion. Huh? What are you going on about? You have no idea. In other words, I'm having a little after party with him in this hotel room. That's all. Huh? Listen to this. At first, I was looking to take a completely different man away from that reunion to make my lover, you know? But that dick was with another old fart of a woman, and when I came over to talk to him, she began to bark in my face. Ugh. At that point, I was about to give up and thought me going to that reunion was going to be completely pointless. But as I was thinking that, I turned to see my old friend Henry. All that nasty skin he had on his face before, covered in all these little red pimples, had cleared right up and he was looking sexy. And as for those stupid little round glasses that he was wearing before, they'd been replaced by a stylish pair of brown J-bands. And his choice of clothing? Oh, perfect. Totally stylish. I knew this would be my only chance to see him, and so I made him my new target and started my hunt. And within a few hours, I had him in my grasp, coming to this hotel with me. And during that time, did you know about the fact that Henry is married? I knew that, and I learned about it while bringing him to the hotel room. Actually, I've known about the fact that he's been married for a while now, as I still talk to his parents every so often. Anyway, I haven't seen Henry in over 7 years because he and I are just never around one another. And anytime I'm talking to his mom or dad, he's not in town. So you've done all of this while knowing he's married? I really wanted him to be with me, so I had no other choice. When I told him that he's my first love, he began to cry about how much he wanted to treat me nicely and hugged me as we walked to the hotel. And why are you telling me all of this now? Knowing very well that I'm his wife and that I have been married to him for a while now. You know why I'm telling you about this. There's only one thing I'd want, and that's for you and Henry to get a divorce. And then you can hand him over to me so that I can have him forever. You want me to give him to you? You already stole him from me. How could I hand something over to you, or someone, when you've already gone and stole them from me? I just told you, though. He's always loved me, and even though I told him he's my first love, he came out and said he had this huge crush on me back in school. In other words, that means he and I are meant for one another. And that also means that he's always been mine, so I didn't steal him from you. Now that we've run into one another again, and I'm with him now, I'd like you to give him back. So hurry up and get that divorce so I can have him. I guess if he's always had that crush on you, then he was never mine to begin with. So I get what you're wanting to say here. Now, I never really knew about how he looked back in the day, but these days Henry is doing pretty good for himself. He happens to work for a very large company that is partners with other companies all over the globe. I'm sure you already knew about that, though, as well. And about how he's expected to be bringing in around $100,000 a year now with his job. Well, of course, all of that only adds to how amazing he is. And that's why I'm in love with him. And he's in love with me because I'm cute and precious to him. No mistaking that. So, that means he has no need for you anymore. As long as you go through with a divorce, then everything about him will come to me, and I can finally have my man. So hurry it up and get that divorce, please. I'll give you an answer to that after I've had a conversation with Henry about all of this. He said he'd be coming home tomorrow, so I'll sit him down and have a talk with him. Please let him know that, since you're actually right there with him. Will do. But I already know that Henry wants this divorce, so no matter what you try to do, he's going to leave. Henry, right about now you should be back home from your hometown, right? Where are you?
I'm at Emily's apartment.
Is that right? So it's true then? That you ended up running into your old friend from middle school that you always had a crush on and she took you to a hotel last night?
I'm sorry.
So I can take this as you saying you want to get a divorce then?
Yeah.
You have anything else to say to me? Anything at all?
Well, when it comes to you, Sandy, you really are an amazing woman. You say that you can do anything and everything on your own, and that's no lie. You really are able to do everything. So, for myself, well, you happen to support me with both my work and with my private life equally. I'm totally thankful that you've always been there for me helping out, and I want you to know that, but when it comes to the person who knows me best and knows how to please me the most, I'd have to say it's Emily. Also, when it came to her, she's always been in love with me ever since middle school. And, she just confessed that to me yesterday at the class reunion.
I see. So the reason you and her ended up being in that hotel room yesterday and why you're over at her apartment now is because you both have liked each other since middle school?
So, I want you to know that whether it was back in middle school or even now, I've always been thinking about Emily, and have always wanted her to be my wife.
All right, I understand. But just because of that reasoning, I don't think we can get a divorce.
Why not?
Even if you and her ended up having a wonderful night with one another, this is a good example of you being unfaithful to me. So I can't just have this settled with a simple divorce. I'm going to make sure I have you and her pay your dues to me through settlements for this, and I'd like to tell both my parents about this and yours.
Well, actually, I was planning on doing the same thing.
One other thing. Since the both of us are working for the same company in the same office, I'm going to have to report what's happened to us to my manager. And I think you should be doing the same then.
Ah, that's right.
I think that you should be prepared to have a lot of people giving you the side eye and things like that after they hear about what you've done.
I guess there's no helping any of that, is there? All right.
Now I'm going to get myself a lawyer and we will sit down and discuss what needs to be done and go through all the paperwork. Once I've had time to talk with my lawyer about all of this and about the money that I can get from both you and Emily, then I'll go ahead and contact you again. Along with that, I'll hand in the divorce paperwork to the courthouse.
All right.
Sandy, thank you so much for getting that divorce with Henry. And by the way, I only just found out about this a little bit ago, but you happen to be 6 years older than Henry, and you work in a higher position than him with that company? That's right. I first met him when he joined the company, as I was in charge of training him, and after some time we grew closer to one another and got married. Well then, you're aware that he's in a much better place now being with someone like me rather than with some old fart like you. And as for yourself, now that you've been divorced by a younger man, that pretty much means that that's it for you, and you'll never be with another man again, right? But don't worry. I'll make sure that Henry is very happy with me and that you are kept up to date on that. Just make sure you don't get super jealous of us, all right? I'm not going to mind you sending me a text about how you feel as though you've come out on top over me. But shouldn't you be a bit more concerned about what's been going on with him? Huh? Oh, no way. Are you going to try and say to me that you know more about Henry than his longtime friend does? Well, I'm sorry, Sandy. I just got home from handing in our marriage papers to the courthouse with him, so this pretty much means game over for you. You've barely even been around him recently, and you're already jumping to marriage? You both haven't seen one another for 7 years, and you thought it was all right to just marry him like that? Are you both going to be okay? I feel like you two should have at least taken a bit more time to get to know one another again. Come on now. You're not going to ever get him back from me, so stop holding on to these feelings. Your time is up, you old fart. He's thrown you away for a much more cute and young girl, and he'd never turn around and go back to you. Hello? What do you want now? What the hell is going on here? What do you mean by here? I'm talking about Henry. What is all of this? Why the hell is this happening? Can you explain what's going on there in a little more detail? Why is he sleeping in so much? His alarm had gone off 4 times before he finally got up and started getting ready for work, and he didn't even bother to wash his face or shave. His hair is still a mess from the pillow, and he's just going to head to work like that? Also, why the hell is he farting so much all the dang time? And when it comes to his work clothes, he just takes them off and leaves them on the floor. Same thing goes for his dishes. He doesn't even bother to turn off the lights either when he leaves a room. And after using the bathroom, he doesn't flush the toilet. And what's worse than any of this? He doesn't even have a good sense of fashion. What the hell happened to the man I saw at the middle school reunion a while ago? Oh no, this is all happening a lot quicker than I was expecting. Huh? What do you mean? He already had problems when in the house with me, never having manners that you'd think an adult his age should have. But at work, he tends to be just as bad, never wearing proper clothing for the job and always farting really loudly in his cubicle. I'm going to assume that he never took his clothing chart with him over to your place, or that he isn't even bothering to look at it anymore now that he's with you. His clothing chart? It's this whole grid that tells him what shirts go with what pants and about what ties to wear and what jackets. What? Was that all written down inside that sketchbook he had brought along with him to my place? That's the one. I'm sure you already know about how much of a slob he is when it comes to his manners, since you've known him far longer than I have. But he's especially bad when it comes to his sense of fashion, and that's why we had a chart made up for him. I made this whole chart for him that would tell him what clothes to go with what and what days to wear that set on. What? So then, that means that the man I saw at the reunion... You always said it like he had done that by himself, but in reality, I was the one that got him dressed up like that and made him look more appealing. What the hell? You are more than welcome to use that chart with him to maintain a good look on him that otherwise he will never create by himself alone. But I threw it away. Really? Anything that I thought had to do with you, I threw in the trash can outside. And that includes the clothing chart you made for him, along with some of the clothing I thought you bought for him. All right then, so you're saying that you no longer have any of the things that helped him look as good as he once did? Sandy, please, can you please get Henry back to the handsome-looking man he was before he came over to my apartment? Well, that happens to be your job now, since you are his wife and all. As you had told me before, you happen to know him way better than I do, having been around him since middle school, and so I'm sure you'd be far better at helping him out than I am. Right? Well, about that, can I at least have you buy him a few more sets of clothing and make up another clothing chart? That's not going to happen. Why not? I am not going to take care of the man who ran off with another girl who asked me to divorce him after. I'm no longer related to anything that has to do with him, but I know someone who is, and that's you, Emily. And another thing, 2 weeks ago I made the choice to transfer. Transfer? Recently I was promoted from department manager into a regional manager, and so I have a change of responsibilities now. So, you were moved to a different location? Yep, I'm very thankful for that as well. Thankful for the divorce, I mean. Because I no longer had to be married to Henry, I was free to do as I pleased, which includes moving to another town. What? So because I'm no longer working in the same office building, I've moved out of that town and am about 2.5-hour drive away. And because I'm now a regional manager, I have even less time to worry about what's going on in the lives of two strangers. No way. The way Henry is right now, if he doesn't change, I'm not going to be happy. Well, if that's the case, then he might need his new wife to start working on some strategies that'll help him get back to the man she loved him as. Good luck with that. A few days after that, due to no longer having me around to support his bad habits, Henry started to have a lot of problems with HR at work due to his poor style and manners. And only a few days after he had been talked to by HR, he and Emily got a divorce. Apparently, the only way the divorce worked out was because Emily had to force him into signing the papers, after he had cried and cried about how he couldn't live without her. Due to the reality that the girl he had always loved since middle school turned her back on him and kicked him out of her life, only a little bit after getting married, Henry has gotten very depressed. And because of this, he never left his place and soon lost his job. When it comes to Emily, she wasn't working at the time she took Henry from me, and so after kicking him out, she no longer had the money to pay her rent, and ran back home to her parents looking for help. But they both told her to get out of their faces as they had disowned her not too long ago. She was last seen running away from her hometown for good, and ever since then, nobody has heard a thing about her.
Wendy! You seriously need to just let me into your amazing mansion already.
Bree, are we really going to have this conversation again? How many times have we gone over this already? You do realize that the only person you can blame for Mom and Dad disinheriting you is you, right? Why do we have to go through this every single time we talk?
And just what does that have to do with anything at all that I'm talking about, huh?
I mean that I'm living with Mom and Dad, and they've decided that they don't want to share anything with you anymore. Even though you're my sister and their daughter, you would still be an unwelcome guest here. Don't you get that?
But it's been 8 whole years since I've left home. And it's only after I leave that you all move out and into that amazingly huge house. It isn't fair.
Well, I don't know what to tell you except that a lot can change over 8 years.
Well, if so much has changed, then why am I still ostracized from everything the family does, huh?
The only person you should be asking for that answer is you. You steal your friend's husband and cheated with him in Mom and Dad's old house. Mom and Dad still haven't forgiven you for it, and quite frankly, neither have I. None of us even consider you a part of the family anymore.
But that's horrible! How can you do that when we are family?
Bree, let me try and break something down for you. The only reason that I haven't blocked you on everything yet is so that I can try and field your calls and save our parents the efforts of doing so. But the truth is that I want nothing more than to block your number right now. I don't think of you as my sister. Mom and Dad don't think of you as their daughter, and you need to get used to that.
No! How can you just expect me to accept something like that? I will find a way to live in that huge house, if it's the last thing I do. Do you understand me? Wendy, are you there? know that you're home, thinking you're so much better than everyone else on Earth just because you get to live in that huge mansion. But that's not going to last for much longer. How does it feel, knowing that soon you're not going to be able to live there anymore?
Bree, again? Seriously? Just what on earth could you possibly be talking about this time? Are you still trying to find a way to live here with us?
Of course I'm still trying. More than that, I'm succeeding. I did a lot of looking into just what you're up to these days, Wendy.
You looked into me? Okay then. Just what did you find out that's got you acting so high and mighty?
Well, I know that you're engaged to be married, right? And that your fiancé is some 38-year-old guy named Barry, right?
That's all correct.
So you're telling me that even a 40-something-year-old hag like you can back a younger man? We both know that to the average eye, the age difference might not seem like much, but getting any kind of younger man is a win for women.
Bree, literally, what are you even talking about?
I mean that, conversely, a man would naturally want a younger woman for himself. That's why I've gone out and stolen Barry from you.
Wait, stolen? As in... Bree, please tell me you're not saying what I think you're saying.
Well, I had to do something to find a way to live in that big house. Ding, ding, ding! You guessed it!
Okay, well, I don't know how else to say this, but you're not gonna be living in this house just by stealing Barry from me.
Please. I did my homework this time. You're not going to be able to try and confuse me now. I know that the house you're all living in now is signed for by Barry. And since I've gone and stolen him from you, that means that soon he's going to tell you that he can't marry you anymore. And then you'll all have to leave. And I bet you've had quite some time to accumulate things to fill up all that empty space in a house like that. It's not going to be easy moving out of there. I'll give you all until the end of the month. Go ahead and tell Mom and Dad about this too. Let them know that if they want to keep living in that big house, that they're going to have to put me back in their will. And apologize for the way they treated me the past 8 years. But as for you, Wendy, you're going right out to the streets where you'll have to find for yourself.
Bree, I really just don't get it. What happened to turn you into such a covetous, selfish, mean person?
And just what is that supposed to mean, huh?
Well, first of all, you know that both you and Barry are liable to be sued by me for your affair, right?
Of course I know that. But I also know that Barry's family is filthy, stinking rich. And that however you want from us is going to be nothing to him. I'm never going back to the way I was 8 years ago when I left the house drowning in debt. And just the clothes on my back.
If you don't want to end up like that again, then I don't see why you insist on engaging in these wild schemes of yours.
Ugh, I already told you that it's always been a dream of mine to live in a huge house like the one that you're in now. I'm not pulling any schemes. I'm just taking the most important steps to achieving my dreams. I worked hard over the past 8 years to pay off all my debt. Just to find out that you were living in the lap of luxury this whole time. Well, that isn't fair. We're sisters. Why do you get everything handed to you on a silver platter, while I've had to work for all that I have now?
Are you really trying to accuse me of getting favorable treatment over you?
All I'm saying is that I did my research into you. And I know the only reason you and our parents are able to stay in a house like that is all thanks to Barry. So, now that I've stolen him from you, that means that I'll be the one getting to live there and not you.
I don't get it. You've come so far and been through so much, and yet it seems like you've still learned nothing. I mean, if you know that you can work that hard on your own merit, why not just find a regular job and buy your own place?
Because why would I when I've already found a man who'll give me what I want and who's head over heels in love with me? We're both a woman. We know that there's many different ways to get what we want. What's it matter how I get things as long as I get them?
And that's really the best excuse you can give for all that you're doing right now?
Excuses or not, the fact of the matter is that I've stolen your man, and there's nothing you can do about it. Did you really think you were finally going to be getting married? At 42 years old? You're way past your prime, and you're going to do old and lonely. Now remember, you only have until the end of the month before you need to be out of there. And tell Mom and Dad that the same goes for them, unless they don't agree to add me to their will.
I really just don't know what I'm going to do with you, Bree.
Hey, Wendy! You're already way over the time limit that I gave you to move out of there. I want to move out and start my new happy life with new rich husband. Why aren't you gone yet? I'll give you 3 more days, and then I want you out of there. Do you understand me? Oh, Wendy! Just get out of the house already! Don't you realize that you lost? Barry doesn't want you anymore. You don't have the right to be there. Get out of the house right now! Hey! Seriously! What is your deal? Why aren't you leaving yet? Are you seriously just going to squat there forever? I've already packed up all my things, and the only person standing in my way right now is you. So get out already! And I am beyond furious with you right now. You are seriously going to make me take drastic measures now. I have no choice but to force you out of the house. Wendy, I'm home. I'm standing right outside the front door. Now you march out here and give up the house. I don't care where you go to live out the rest of your sad, lonely life, but it will not be here.
I was wondering if you were really going to try and pull something like this after the 3 days were up.
Of course I would. I always follow through with my threats.
Bree, I'm afraid that the only person living a sad, lonely life right now is Barry.
What is that supposed to mean?
I mean, that we officially canceled our engagement about a month ago.
No, really. Well, I didn't know. But that doesn't change anything, so get out!
It changes everything. Someone already moved out, and that person was Barry.
You're not making any sense. Just tell me what you're trying to say.
Barry is currently living in a tiny little apartment about 20 minutes outside of downtown.
I still don't understand what you mean by that.
I guess I'll start from the beginning for you. It's true that this house did used to belong to Barry's family, and the deed for the house was in Barry's name, but 6 months ago, I became the deed holder.
But why? How did that happen?
Well, Barry's business was doing really poorly at the time, and he started getting bogged down with debt. Then things quickly turned even worse, and he had to declare for bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy? Are you kidding me?
I am not, but I actually own and manage my own business, which is quite large, if I may say so myself.
Wait, what?
So Barry, knowing this, talked to me and agreed to lease the house to me on the condition that when he pays me back, I return it to him. I got him out of a lot of financial trouble by doing that.
No, this can't be right. You're lying to me. Are you?
If you look up Barry's company online, I'm sure you can see plenty of stories about the bankruptcy.
Wait. Oh no, it's true!
Yep, told you so.
But what am I supposed to do? This is my last day in my apartment! I've already returned my key and everything. Where am I supposed to live?
I'm sure that Barry could find some room for you in his place.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, I heard that he's renting with a building known for having some of the smallest apartments in the city, but I guess your options are that or homelessness.
But this isn't fair! I stole Barry from you fair and square! I was supposed to live in this big house, not you! It was my dream, and now it's all gone. Wendy, please pick up the phone. Are you really going to sue me after I've been through so much? I just paid off all my debts and feel like I can finally breathe again. Why are you instantly going to saddle me with more? I went to Barry to ask for help and he said that he didn't have anything for me. Please, I'm begging your help here. You're my older sister. You have to do something.
Sometimes you just save people when they have their mind set on something, even when it's completely wrong. But thanks to her stubbornness, Wendy made the same mistake of sleeping with the spouse of the person who owned the house she was trying to steal twice. I worry about my sister often, but I just can't pity her at all when she lands herself in the exact trouble she blames on everyone around her. It's true, I did sue her and Barry for their affair. Part of the fees charged to them also included the cancellation charges for my wedding plans with Barry. They both had to split the sum of around $100,000. I wondered if Bree had felt like her life was just set back another 8 years. Although I'm sure if she did it once, she could get herself out of debt again. I just hope that she learned her lesson this time.